Imagine a single ranking, released quietly online, yet powerful enough to fracture a global fandom within minutes. In early 2025, what should have been a routine beauty announcement instead ignited one of the most uncomfortable conversations in modern K-pop. When Rosé's name rose to the very top of an international list, the reaction wasn't just admiration. It was tension. Celebration collided with resentment, praise collided with comparison, and an invisible line was drawn between two names that were never meant to compete yet always were. For years, Rosé and Lisa had been presented as different colors of the same masterpiece. One embodied fragile elegance, the other radiated sharp confidence. But the industry does not reward harmony, it thrives on contrast. The moment Rosé was crowned, social media shifted from applause to analysis. Headlines praised her universal beauty, but comment sections whispered a different story, questions about fairness, about timing, about why one member stood alone at the summit while another dominated a different kind of spotlight. This wasn't just about visuals. It was about status. In K-pop, rankings are never isolated achievements. They become symbols. Rosé's recognition was framed as global acceptance, while Lisa's absence from that specific title was read by some as a deliberate omission. Fans didn't argue over facts, they argued over meaning. Was this proof of shifting beauty standards, or the industry quietly choosing a narrative? Behind polished photos and curated smiles lies an unspoken pressure few idols can escape. Success is measured publicly, endlessly, and often cruelly. Every title elevates one name while casting a shadow on another. Even within the same group, comparison becomes unavoidable. What the audience sees as glory, idols often experience as silent weight. And this is where the story truly begins. Because what followed wasn't peace, but escalation. If you want to understand how admiration turns into rivalry, how praise becomes pressure, and how the spotlight can divide even the closest stages, stay with us. Subscribe, follow the channel, and continue to the next part, where the balance begins to crack. As the initial shock faded, the conversation surrounding Rosé's rise didn't calm down, it evolved into something sharper. Online discussions shifted from celebration to dissection. Fans began replaying old interviews, comparing brand deals, magazine covers, and public appearances, searching for patterns that might explain why one name had been elevated at that exact moment. In K-pop, nothing is ever seen as accidental. Every achievement is suspected to be calculated, timed, and strategically framed. What made the situation more intense was the silence from the industry itself. No statements, no clarifications, no effort to redirect the narrative. That silence acted like fuel. While Rosé was being praised for her timeless appeal and understated aura, another storyline quietly formed alongside it, the feeling that someone else was being overlooked. Lisa's global presence, her explosive impact on international stages, and her undeniable charisma became part of an unspoken counter-argument circulating across platforms. This wasn't a direct conflict, but it felt like one. Two narratives running in parallel, never colliding openly, yet constantly compared. Fans weren't just defending their favorite idol, they were defending what they believed each woman represented. One was framed as refined and universally palatable, the other as bold, modern, and impossible to ignore. The contrast wasn't new, but now it was amplified under a microscope. Inside the industry, such moments create quiet pressure. Idols are expected to smile through comparisons they never asked for. Achievements become benchmarks others are measured against, even when those achievements exist in completely different spaces. The public rarely sees this tension, but it lingers beneath every headline. By mid-2025, it was clear this wasn't about a single ranking anymore. It was about perception, positioning, and the uncomfortable reality that in K-pop, success for one can unintentionally feel like loss for another. As the narratives grew louder, the pressure no longer stayed online. It seeped into every public appearance, every performance clip, every still image captured by flashing cameras. Rosé's elegance began to be scrutinized rather than admired, while Lisa's confidence was dissected for hidden meaning. Fans weren't just watching, they were measuring. Body language, eye contact, even silence became evidence in an imagined rivalry neither idol ever acknowledged. The most unsettling part was how effortlessly the industry allowed this tension to exist. Media outlets framed their successes side by side, even when the contexts were entirely different. One headline praised subtle beauty, another celebrated commanding presence, and together they formed a comparison too tempting to ignore. The audience was invited, indirectly, to choose a side. And many did. For idols, this is one of the darkest pressures of fame. You are not only competing with others, you are competing with perceptions created without your consent. Rosé's calm demeanor was interpreted as distance. Lisa's intensity was read as dominance. Neither interpretation was fair, yet both stuck. The more each woman succeeded in her own lane, the more those lanes appeared to converge into a single, crowded spotlight. Behind closed doors, such moments can redefine careers. Opportunities are weighed, images adjusted, risks calculated. One wrong move can tip public sentiment. One quiet moment can be read as a statement. The illusion of control disappears quickly when millions project their own narratives onto your success. By the time the debate reached its peak, something had shifted. This was no longer a conversation about beauty or talent. It had become a reflection of how K-pop turns individuality into competition and how even the brightest achievements can cast long, uncomfortable shadows. By the time the tension reached its most visible stage, the focus quietly shifted from the idols themselves to the system surrounding them. Industry insiders began to hint at what fans rarely want to acknowledge. Narratives are not born randomly. They are shaped, framed, sometimes encouraged. In K-pop, success stories are often designed to stand in contrast, because contrast drives engagement, loyalty, and endless discussion. Rosé's image continued to be associated with refinement and emotional subtlety, while Lisa's presence was increasingly framed as power and global dominance. Neither label was wrong, yet both were incomplete. The problem was not how they were seen individually, but how their images were positioned against one another. The industry benefited from the comparison, while the idols carried the weight of it. This kind of pressure does not erupt loudly. It works quietly, through expectations and unspoken rules. Every appearance becomes a test. Every achievement raises the standard even higher. There is no room to simply exist, even silence is interpreted. Fans may call it support, but the demand beneath it is relentless: outperform, outshine, prove your place again and again. What makes this moment particularly revealing is how familiar it feels. K-pop has seen this cycle before. Individual success within a group turning into unintended rivalry, fandom pride turning into division. The difference now is scale. Global attention amplifies every detail, leaving no space to breathe. As the year moved forward, one question lingered beneath the surface. When the spotlight creates pressure instead of pride, how long can anyone stand at the center without being changed by it? What remained after the noise settled was not a winner or a loser, but a clearer view of the cost behind the spotlight. By the end of 2025, the conversation around Rosé and Lisa had quietly transformed into something more unsettling. It was no longer about who ranked higher, who trended longer, or who commanded more attention in a single moment. It became a mirror reflecting how the K-pop machine consumes success and reshapes it into pressure. Both women continued to move forward, flawlessly professional, unwavering in public, yet the expectations surrounding them had permanently shifted. Every new appearance carried invisible weight. If Rosé leaned into softness, it was framed as strategy. If Lisa displayed strength, it was interpreted as dominance. The audience no longer watched them as artists alone, but as symbols competing within a narrative neither had authored. This is the paradox of K-pop fame at its highest level. The more global recognition you gain, the less control you have over the story told about you. Behind closed doors, the industry never truly addresses these tensions. Instead, it absorbs them. Comparison fuels engagement, debate sustains relevance, and division keeps attention locked in place. Fandoms defend, argue, and amplify, often believing they are protecting their idols without realizing they are reinforcing the very system that creates these fractures. In this environment, even shared success can feel isolating. What makes this moment particularly telling is its familiarity. This is not the first time individual brilliance within a group has sparked uncomfortable comparisons, and it will not be the last. The difference now lies in scale and permanence. Digital narratives do not fade. They loop, resurface, and redefine legacies in real time. One title, one viral moment, one ranking can permanently alter how an artist is perceived. Yet despite it all, Rosé and Lisa continue to stand where few can, not because of manufactured rivalry, but because of years of discipline, sacrifice, and resilience. Their journey exposes a truth many fans avoid. The darkest side of K-pop is not failure but success under constant surveillance. In the end, the spotlight never truly turns off in K-pop. It only shifts, waiting for the next moment to compare, divide, and judge. And as long as fame is measured publicly, the pressure behind it continues to grow. And now the question turns to you. Are these narratives inevitable? Or can the industry and its audience learn to celebrate without comparison? If you want deeper analysis into the hidden tensions, unspoken conflicts, and real pressures shaping K-pop's biggest names, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice drives this conversation forward. Stay tuned because this story is far from over.